The legal marijuana market blazed across the United States in 2018.
And policy's only gotten wilder since then. Hold on to your hats while we take you for a short trip on U.S. pot legalization in 2018 by state. Vermont lawmakers accomplished a landmark move for marijuana advocates in early 2018. The state boasts the first legislature and governor to approve recreational weed as opposed to waiting for a citizen-driven ballot initiative.
You know how fast you were going?
65?
63.
Freaking out, man.
You are freaking out, man.
Republican Governor Phil Scott privately signed a recreational marijuana law on January 22nd with mixed emotions.
You take the purchasing of it outside of the black market.
Step up in this motherfucker just to swing in my hair.
Governor Phil Murphy has pledged to sign adult use regulation legislation. Murphy, a Democrat, defeated incumbent Lieutenant Governor in part by championing a recreational marijuana law opposed by then-Governor Chris Christie and his administration. Murphy pointed to marijuana legalization as a way to correct societal justice imbalances in New Jersey, where police set an in-state record for marijuana possession arrests in 2016. The American Civil Liberties Union said the tens of thousands of marijuana arrests exacerbate deep racial disparities in the state.
Through the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol, advocates are aiming to put a question about recreational marijuana legalization on the Michigan ballot in 2018. Marijuana advocates submitted 360,000.
New Jersey Governor-elect Phil Murray has pledged to sign adult use regulation legislation. Murphy, a Democrat,
recreational marijuana.
A legislative task force assigned to evaluate the impact of legalizing recreational marijuana released a report in February 2018, according to the Delaware News Journal. A 25-member panel called the Adult Use Cannabis Task Force was created after a 2017 effort to legalize marijuana failed to clear the House of Representatives. Members were expected to evaluate the impact of legal cannabis industry in the state. The Delaware Constitution does not allow ballot initiatives. So if the state was to legalize marijuana, it would be forced to act through the State House.
The Hartford City Council approved a resolution in 2017 to legalize recreational marijuana. The symbolic move might jolt talk of legalizing marijuana in the State House, where previous legislation has died. Altieri told Newsweek that advocates hope momentum in other parts of the U.S. will encourage lawmakers to give legalization bills serious consideration.
No longer relegated to the coast, legal markets for recreational marijuana are now an emerging nationwide trend. Separately, while not nearly as far-reaching as ending prohibition and allowing legal sales, voters in 5 Ohio cities also approved local cannabis decriminalization ballot measures on Election Day, signaling that a regional Midwest movement for marijuana reform is on the rise.
In Oklahoma, medical marijuana was on the primary election ballot, a situation legalization supporters have long sought to avoid because younger and more progressive voters who have been thought more likely to support cannabis reform don't show up as reliably in non-presidential elections. With a decisive win in the red state during an off-year primary shows that medical cannabis can pass almost anywhere anytime it is put before voters, whether presidential years, primaries, or midterms. Utah all overwhelmingly approved medical cannabis ballot measures this year while at the same time voting to elect Republicans to the U.S. Senate or nominee conservative candidates for statewide office. Amendment 2, a constitutional amendment to allow medical cannabis, passed by a margin of 66% to 34%. Under the new law, qualified patients who have approval from their physicians will receive identification cards from the state that will allow them and their registered caregivers to grow up to 6 marijuana plants and purchase at least 4 ounces of cannabis from dispensaries on a monthly basis.
We've come a long way since 2012, when Washington and Colorado first completely legalized marijuana for recreational use. It's been an uphill battle for marijuana advocates. Marijuana has been legalized for use in 9 states and Washington, D.C., and at least 33 states allow marijuana for medical purposes, and 13 states have decriminalized but not legalized marijuana. In the states that have legalized marijuana, they have reached $9.7 billion in sales in 2017, according to a top cannabis research firm.
With over 60% of Americans now supporting the full legalization of marijuana for adults, the momentum behind marijuana law reform will not only continue but increase as we head into 2019.
Some supporters argue that legalization would divert revenue away from organized crime, free up criminal justice resources for more serious offenses, and generate tax revenues. For those who oppose legalization, some of the worries include an increase in consumption, including among
Smoke weed every day.